Hi guys, and welcome back to the 9 to 12 YouTube channel. This term we won't be having a new video every week, but there will be a couple throughout the term. So keep an eye out on your classroom board or find out from your teacher when the new videos will be coming out. As you all know, Tessa has moved up to middle school, so this term we have a new teacher joining us on the videos named Tracy.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be joining you in Humanities this term. This term our focus will be the discovery of Asia and Australia. Australia and Asia are two continents that are located east of South Africa. Australia sits in the southern hemisphere, while Asia sits in the northern hemisphere. A few modern-day Asian countries include China, Nepal, Thailand, Singapore, India, and Korea. Australia is both the name of the country and the continent. Some maps called the continent of Australia Oceania, and this name included islands such as New Zealand and Tanzania. You may remember learning about China last term when we discovered the ancient Ming Dynasty.
Before European exploration, Australia and Oceania were home to a few Aboriginal tribes. The Australian Aboriginals inhabited the mainland, while Torres Strait Islanders inhabited Papua New Guinea. The Maori tribes were the native New Zealanders before European explorers arrived. Asia had been part of European trade for quite a while before the age of exploration kicked off. Many Asian countries that we know today already existed during the age of exploration. Most were not found by Europeans in the same way that other continents were. The Middle East, Russia, Southeast Asia, India, and many other parts of Asia already had developed towns and infrastructure. Trade routes with Europe had already been made, such as the silk and spice routes. European exploration in Asia started as early as 515 BC. That's about 2,500 years ago, when Scylax explored the Indus and the sea route across the Indian Ocean to Egypt. Scylax was an ancient Greek explorer. He was sent to explore the Indus River by the king of Persia at the time, King Darius. From 330 BC all the way up until 1453 AD, many Europeans visited India, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, and parts of the Middle East to set up trade routes and to explore these eastern lands because they were so different to those in Europe. Marco Polo was a Venetian traveler. Marco Polo was not the first European to reach China, but he was the first to leave a detailed chronicle of his experience. This book inspired Christopher Columbus and many other travelers. He also influenced European mapmaking. His father, Niccolo, and brother Maffeo set off on a trading voyage before Marco's birth. According to the book, The Travels of Marco Polo, they passed through much of Asia and met with Kublai Khan, a Mongol ruler and founder of the Yuan dynasty. In 1269, Niccolo and Maffeo returned to their families in Venice, meeting young Marco for the first time. In 1271, Marco Polo, at 17 years of age, his father and his uncle set off for Asia on a series of adventures that Marco later documented in his book. They returned to Venice in 1295, 24 years later, with many riches and treasures. They had traveled almost 24,000 kilometers. But in 1453, Constantinople, now known as Istanbul, the capital of the Roman Empire, was conquered by the Muslim Turkish Empire. This ended the Christian rule in the Eastern Mediterranean. Trade in Asia became much more difficult for the Christians in Europe. This led Europeans to look for new lands to trade with, and this became the start of the Age of Exploration. This was not the end of European exploration in Asia, however. A few years later, various Europeans came to settle in parts of Asia and re-established trade routes, and in some cases colonized whole Asian countries. We will learn more about colonization as the term progresses. Dutch navigators were the first Europeans known to have explored and mapped the Australian coastline. The first documented encounter was that of Dutch navigator Willem Janszoon in 1606. Dutch seamen also visited the west and north coasts of the continent, as did French explorers. Willem Janszoon was a Dutch navigator and governor. He served in the Netherlands portion of the East Indies, also called the Dutch East Indies, from 1603 to 1616. He is the first European known to have seen the coast of Australia during his voyage of 1605 to 1606. Willem and his team mapped the land and called it New Holland. The Dutch East Indies would also later be home to another famous Dutch explorer named Jan van Riebeeck, who would go on and find our home of Cape Town. The most famous expedition was that of Royal Navy Lieutenant James Cook, 164 years after Janszoon's sighting. Cook made detailed maps of Newfoundland in Canada before making 3 voyages to the Pacific Ocean, where he visited Hawaii, New Zealand, and Australia. On his voyages to the Pacific Ocean, he first found New Zealand and then sailed further west until on the 19th of April 1770, Cook sighted the southeastern coast of Australia and became the first recorded European to explore the eastern coastline. He discovered Botany Bay as a good harbour and one potentially suitable for a settlement. This is where he would build the first town. He made first landfall on the 29th of April and claimed the east coast for England on the 22nd of August. He called it Possession Island. He also called this part of Australia New South Wales, and it is still called that today. His expedition returned to England via the Indian Ocean and the Cape of Good Hope. These explorers are just a few of many to have set foot in Asia and Australia. As you can see from the maps on your screen, there were many voyages across the Atlantic to discover new places.
Your task this week will be to create a world map showing the routes of various European explorers to Asia and Australia. You will be given a plain map and you will need to color it in and draw the routes on for yourself. Please draw the routes clearly and carefully, using different colors to show various countries that the explorers came from. Don't forget to write your name and the date on your task. We hope you enjoyed your first video of the term and are excited to learn about our new topic of discovering Asia and Australia. Bye!